In a small, forgotten town hidden deep in the woods, there stood a house that no one dared enter. It had been abandoned for decades, its windows shattered, and the roof sagging as if the house itself was trying to sink into the earth. The locals whispered of a curse, but no one could explain what really happened within its walls. One night, a group of teenagers decided to explore it, eager for a thrill. Armed with flashlights and nervous laughter, they crept inside. The air was thick with dust, and the floors groaned beneath their feet. As they ventured deeper into the house, strange things began to happen. Whispers, so faint it was hard to tell if they were real, echoed through the hallways. The temperature dropped suddenly, and the shadows seemed to stretch toward them. In the dining room, they found an old rusted chandelier hanging above a long table covered in cobwebs. In the center of the table was a dusty old mirror. One of the boys, curious, wiped away the grime. His reflection stared back, pale and wide-eyed, but behind him, in the mirror, a figure loomed. It was a tall, shadowy woman with hollow eyes, her face twisted in a silent scream. The boy spun around, but there was no one there. When he looked back at the mirror, his reflection was smiling. Before anyone could react, the lights of their flashlights flickered and went out. Panic set in. They fumbled for the door, but it was no longer there. The house had shifted. The walls seemed to close in, the air thickening like a suffocating fog. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. Suddenly, the boy who had touched the mirror began to convulse, his eyes rolling back into his head as he started mumbling in a language none of them understood. The others tried to drag him toward the door, but his body was cold, like ice, and no matter how hard they pulled, it was as if the house itself wouldn't let him leave. Then the boy stopped struggling. Slowly, he opened his eyes, but they were no longer his. They were black, bottomless pits, and the twisted smile that spread across his face was not his own. In a voice that wasn't his, he whispered, "She's hungry." The house swallowed their screams, and by morning there was no sign that anyone had been there at all. Just the old house, standing quietly at the edge of the woods, waiting for its next visitors.